Hello, everybody, and welcome to Frankenstein Podcast, where it's all about the monster. We're a creature feature podcast about monsters and why we love them. I'm one of your intrepid hosts, Joe Praska, and with me, as always, is
your other host, Khalid Hussein.
What up, Khalid?
What up, Joe?
Not much. Just hanging out.
Heck yeah, button up a little bit. You don't need to be like too relaxed. We're recording now. We're in it. But I'm glad I'm glad you're comfortable at least.
Yeah.
Good.
How's LA going?
LA's good, man. I got a soda stream, which is that significantly changed my life. I'm a big
just a note to listeners. He's acting like he's telling me this for the first time, but he's texted me a lot about the soda stream.
Yeah, no, honestly, this is just my casual way of like flexing on the rest of you listeners. I got a soda stream, so none of you can touch me anymore. I'm untouchable. Call me Kevin Costner. Was he in that? He was in that.
Yes, he was.
No, in all seriousness, my life has qualitatively gotten within reason, like 10% better just by having sparkling water on demand. I got like all those like little flavors of syrups. So like I've been like mixing and matching and just like, every day just treating myself, and it's nice. I might get another bottle though, because that's the only downside is that like I drink them so often that the one bottle, which is like a liter, I think, is not enough for your boy. Cause I'd be refilling that thing like 4 or 5 times a day. And I think I just need to have like a rotation of bottles is my thinking.
Yeah, I could see that for you. I remember when you came over to our house and you brought over Spindrifts, which happened to be my favorite sparkling water, and you brought like 2 cases, and I feel like you had half of each one.
Yeah, exactly.
In the one night.
I love me some sparkling water. That's my vice. That's my like little.
They are good. They are really good.
That's my treat to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like a water with bite.
Water with bite.
Yeah.
You should be an advertiser for him.
I am actually. I'm full Don Draper for Spindrift, so
And that's how we present our first sponsor for the podcast, Khalid.
Frankenstein's podcast, brought to you by Spindrift. Is it water? Is it something else with bite? It's both.
Just kidding. They aren't actually sponsoring us. But seriously, if you want to Spindrift, we're open to it.
Yeah, that plug right there, that one was free. But next time,
that was pretty good.
I want to see some greenbacks. I want to see some kashish.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Khalid. Things are going well for me too.
I don't care.
Harsh, damn.
My bad. How are things with you for real, Joe?
Things are good. The baby, about 4 months old now. I think might be teething. I don't know. Whatever's happening, there's just a whole lot of drool coming out at any given moment. And do you ever I think it was remember the first Harry Potter movie where like the giant 3-headed dog like drools on Ron?
I don't remember that part, but I believe it happened.
Yeah, it just like just drool just drips all over him, and that's just my life, like every day.
3-headed dog drool coming from your boy.
All over the face, the shirts, the hands, everything. Just it's fine. It's fine though.
It's nice. Of all the things that could be coming out of the baby, drool is probably preferable.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, all of the other things have come out on me at some point before, but right now it's drool.
All right, Joe, stop bragging. Stop bragging about all the baby fluids.
Baby flex.
Yeah, that's too much of a flex for us childless folk that have to walk around just clean all day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got sparkling water, so.
Exactly. Spindrift for people without children.
I mean, and with children, I have a ton of Spindrift.
All right. Spindrift is for the people. I'm sorry for gatekeeping.
It's just for the people.
Yeah, exactly. We
don't gatekeep our sparkling water here on Frankenstein's podcast.
No, that we don't peddle those bourgeoisie drinks. It's all people included. Everybody is kept in mind when it comes to drinks.
Yeah, that's our official stance. So, do you wanna tell the listeners what we're talking about today, Khalid?
I guess I could. Just for everybody who listened to the last episode, and I promised that we would be talking about The Girl in the Woods. We're punting that to the next episode due to some scheduling conflicts with our awesome guest, but we will be doing that if you watched it and thought it would be in vain. But we are not talking about that this week. This week, we are going to be talking about season 1, episode 2 of the show Angel. It was written by David Fury and directed by James A. Contner. And I've got a little synopsis. It's real little synopsis for it from our homeboy Google. And it goes like this. Angel turns on his killer charm in a Los Angeles singles bar where a serial murderer is hunting for victims and Doyle develops a crush on Cordelia. That's it, dude.
What a monster.
They're creatures of the abstract that live off potential energy.
It's alive!
Dang.
That wasn't even a paragraph.
That's pretty brief.
That's one sentence, and like not even like a sentence with like a semicolon where it's like these two things have something to do. Like, it's a sentence with like a comma late in the game, comma for those of you following along. It is very brief and kind of maybe touches on what the actual episode's about.
I appreciate the synopsis play-by-play lead.
Thank you. No, yeah. I mean, when it's this short, I got to do something to pad it out, I feel like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think the last couple episodes, if anyone's new who jumped in after the break, we had a few episodes similar to this one in the past. We did an episode of Buffy. I think we did Xena. We did X-Files, where we did like a single episode of this like massive series franchise type thing. And in some sense, it's really just an excuse for us to talk about the whole show without like specifically rewatching the whole show before an episode. But we chose this episode specifically to, if anyone wants to watch along with this episode and join in with this discussion. But I think we'll touch on kind of aspects of why we like Angel as a whole too, and I will put a disclaimer that there probably will be spoilers for the show in many facets, but it's an older show, so get on watching it, everybody.
Definitely check it out if you haven't before, and if it's been a long time since you watched it. Joe knows, like, this is kind of like one of my favorite shows from that era of television for me, and so I've seen it a few times over now, and it really is just the kind of show that just gets like better with each season, and you get to see like really like cool like actors that like you're like, oh, I've seen them from other things. I think probably the biggest one is I think his name is Vincent Kartheiser. He plays Angel's son in the last couple seasons, and then he goes on to be in Mad Men and some other things.
That's right.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's a cool show. It's I feel like it's definitely the prototype to shows like Daredevil and other shows of the like that we all like now, as far as like pulpy noirish superhero shows.
I think there's some creative people from Angel who jumped to Daredevil too, so you can definitely see the through line there.
Yeah, there definitely are, and it shows for sure. Like Daredevil, or no, Angel crawled so Daredevil could walk. Is that how that goes?
I think that's how that goes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It's a great show. I think that did you were you more of a Buffy or Angel person growing up?
Definitely an Angel person. I think we touched on that in the episode.
I think we did, yeah.
In the Hush episode. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just because like I'm a boy and girls drool or whatever. No, not really. I loved both of the series. Buffy is a fantastic show. I think for me, for some reason, it was just like a noirish detective-y kind of thing. Just like really spoke to me a lot more than like a high school Parable did. And honestly, I just kind of hated Xander. They really did a good job of avoiding having a Xander on Angel, which was for me a big bonus. It was in the plus column for me. I don't know. What about you? Which one were you like more into?
I kind of went through phases. I started as a big Buffy fan. I watched Buffy all the time. I feel like I more consistently watched Buffy, but as I got older, like older high school age, is when I took to Angel pretty strongly. It became one of my like morning rituals. I would either watch like a rerun of Angel or a rerun of Voyager before getting on the bus or driving to school in the morning. So, or Star Trek Voyager is the other option. So it was those two shows I just kind of alternate before in the morning, whether or not whichever one was on a rerun is, I think it was even the same channel. But I got really into Angel. I liked, I remember liking the later seasons quite a bit more than the earlier seasons. I feel like in my head, it's that fifth season stuck with me. You remember the puppet episode?
Oh my god, yes. Dude, seriously, like
Yeah.
especially in that final season, like it feels very much like proto Community in that
Kinda, yeah.
they really just like went for broke with a lot of it. I mean, even ignoring the fact that it just kind of takes like this philosophical leap as far as, because I feel like the metaphor with Buffy, as far as like all these monsters are supposed to like be dealing with like adolescence and like just life in general.
Yeah.
I think that there's something, while interesting and clearly a lot to explore with that, like 7 or 8 seasons worth. I think with Angel, they had a lot more leeway in that. It really was just about like the juxtaposition of being like a guy that has like a horrible past, but also still trying to like fix a world that's equally, if not more so horrible. And they got to explore that in a few different ways. And that last season just underscored it in such a fantastic way. Without spoiling too much about it, basically Angel's like a private detective, and the big villain for most of the series is this law firm, which is a great joke in and of itself, but they do a really good job of like underscoring like how the mechanics of that even work in a cool way. If you're a nerd that's into world building like that, the show does a good job through that. And then the final season kind of like flips it on its head, and the law firm is just like, you win, you get to take us over. Let's see how you do it. If you think that like we're so bad and like we're doing so much bad to the world, what happens when you get the reins? Like, can you make the world any better? And it's just such a fantastic final season. And like Joe alluded to, they kind of take like some creative leaps with that season. Specifically, there's a freaking puppet episode that is so funny. It's so great. But yeah, like
It's really good.
I've gushed about it to Joe like a million times over the years, but like I love that final season so much for a lot of reasons. Topmost being that the finale is amazing, has one of the coolest closing lines of any series ever. But yeah, like things like the puppet episode and stuff like that just like made it a must-watch season for me.
It felt like it was just so much. I mean, as the later seasons came on, the show was just so much more sure of itself too. Like the humor was much more well balanced. Like we watched this episode from season 1 for this podcast today. It's definitely like Angel's way more broody, and that's part of his journey in a sense. And he's still broody later on, but like I think they're able to balance like the silliness of it all a lot better later on too.
Definitely. And I think that it's kind of like a running joke, at least like in the fandom, that David Boreanaz kind of like learned to act on Angel.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's very,
especially watching these early ones.
Exactly. Like the thing that like Sarah Michelle Gellar did a lot of heavy lifting in their scenes in Buffy, and it worked because like the chemistry was palpable between those two. But I feel like everybody was kind of surprised when he got his own show, or at least I was surprised when he got his own show, because I just did not think he was like the most compelling character, especially when someone like Spike comes along and is just like a big ball of entertainment like from jump. But in retrospect, it makes so much more sense to like build the show around somebody like Angel, where it's like, yeah, like there's only so much range you need at first when you're just like a broody person, and it really allowed him the space to become not like the greatest actor in the world, but like by the end of the show, like he is a full on like strong lead. He's got funny moments, he's got charismatic moments, and he really like is scary when he wants to be, which is important when you know like the mythos of the show, which we'll get into. But yeah, like I think that it's the reason that he was able to go on to like play like characters like in his show Bones, where he's a lot more like jovial and bantery. And there's no way that David Boreanaz from Buffy could like become the co-lead of Bones if he just jumped straight to it. There's no world where that show works, because he was not good at first.
Yeah, needless to say, it's a great show. I think both of us have talked at length in previous episodes how both Angel and Buffy kind of inspired our journey into like fandoms and monstery, weird sci-fi fantasy stuff too. So I think they're both pretty instrumental to both of us. I will say, I feel like we did our Buffy episode right before all the stuff about Joss Whedon came out.
Yeah, that's worth.
So it was like
mentioning.
tough timing. Yeah, I was gonna say like we are no Whedon apologists here. I would say we still love these shows because of how important they were to us, I think, and what we got out of him, but it's definitely worth noting that Joss Whedon is an awful human being.
Yeah, he's terrible. And I don't have any problem saying that and still singing the praises of this show. And again, like this is the kind of thing that I feel like it's not just me and Joe. It's a lot of people in certain fandoms are like having these tough conversations. I mean, we literally just in this talk brought up Harry Potter, you know?
Yep.
So,
Another one.
and you know, I think it's just this kind of, we're all learning to reconcile with problematic creators of things that gave us a lot of joy. And I think that the healthiest way to look at it is that it doesn't say anything about you to like the end product of like a problematic person's creation, because more often than not, what we're talking about is a collaborative process. And coming from the world of production, I can definitely speak to that in the sense that as much as like Joss would love to be like, yes, I am Buffy, I am Angel, I am the reason these shows are good. That's not the case. Like we have been able to say so many great things about just Angel right now without once like speaking to what Joss Whedon brought to it. So I think in that regard, it's really just like celebrate everybody that was a part of it, not just like the worst person associated with it, is my take at least. What about you, Joe?
No, I think that's perfectly said. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I can't really add much to it. I feel the same way.
Yeah, no, and again, we've talked about this a bunch because it's tough, you know, like you just wanna look back at it with rose-colored glasses, but you know, just it comes with maturity that you figure out exactly like what the line is for you as a fan. And I'm not saying that as to say like you have to still like Angel and ignore all the bad. Whatever your line is, I respect it. This is just my justification or rationale for why it's okay for me to still like appreciate this like show.
It's not really a good right or wrong answer per se. But I think the point you make about it being a collaborative effort is huge, because I mean, I think we got the big the news story was from Charisma Carpenter from Angel here, how she talks about like how awfully she was treated by Joss, and like she's a big part of this show, and I think she does a great job on it, and like I want to support the work that she put into as well, you know.
She's a huge part of the show. She was like inarguably the heart of the show for the first 4 seasons.
For sure.
And it was really felt when she was gone in the final season.
Very jarring.
And like finding out the real like behind the scenes like story of why she's gone makes it even harder and more of a bummer to like, cause you see her storyline and where it goes, and you get really disappointed even without knowing the context of why it went down like that. So I'm a huge Charisma Carpenter fan because of what she did on Buffy and Angel. And like, whereas I was surprised if David Boreanaz was like getting a spinoff, it made 110% sense that like somebody like Charisma Carpenter, who was a part of an ensemble on Buffy, was going to be like kind of bumped up to more of a lead in Angel. It was like, that just tracks. You need someone like that.
Oh, for sure. They did a good job in, I'd say both shows. I mean, Buffy had the Xander character, but like the ensembles were great, I think.
The ensembles,
overall.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, very good ensembles on both shows. And I mean, let's just get into this episode and this show in general. I think what's nice about talking about this episode is that it's, I didn't realize it when I suggested we watch it, but this is the second episode of the series, which is perfect for a lot of reasons. One, like if it was just the pilot, it's a lot of heavy lifting and just references to Buffy. But with this episode, it's really, they're still doing a lot of what the pilot does, which is establishing the premise of the show while also kind of just moving away from what spawned it to begin with. And I think that's what kind of conveniently worked out to make this a good episode to discuss, you know?
Agreed. Yeah. It's nice. It's the show first starting to be its own thing.
Yes, definitely. And I think they do a really good job of that. I mean, I guess we can just jump into it. Probably one of the funniest things to me, I don't know if they bring it up specifically in this episode, is that this is a show about a vampire who wants to be a detective in Los Angeles, which I think even a passing observer of climate and geography understands, like, why would a vampire choose to live in like one of the sunniest places ever and like try to solve crimes? It's just very funny in and of itself, but like it speaks to the character, who is a masochist for the majority of the series. He's very big on self-flagellation or self-punishment because do you want to get into his backstory, Joe? Do you want to talk about like what the Angel backstory is?
Um, yeah, I don't remember. I'm trying to remember much of it in the detail. He was, uh, when he was a vampire for a long time. He didn't have it. He got his soul rejoined. Was that in Buffy that happened?
Well, technically it happened hundreds of years before.
Hundreds of years ago. Okay, so he'd had it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's a vampire with a soul, but when he loses his soul, he becomes Angelus once again, and he's like this murderous, normal vampire. And so the Angelus character had killed like numerous people, so he's kind of living with that guilt right now.
Yeah, he was a very vicious and like he was basically like a Hannibal Lecter type of like
brutal killer,
super serial killer. And basically when he gets cursed with a soul, he has to like live with like all of the horrible things that he's done up until we meet him in Buffy and then eventually in Angel. And so basically like the entire point of Angel is kind of like this like redemption arc in Angel the show, not Angel the character. But the entire point of the show is like, can this guy do enough good? Can this guy put enough good into the world to somehow counteract like the just incalculable devastation that he's caused as himself? So it's a really cool exploration of that. And I feel like each season does a really good job of just like questioning that and questioning if it's even possible. And it does it in like new and interesting ways that just like, I don't know. It was really fun, especially like when it's like when I was a kid and it was like one of my first philosophical or like ethical like conundrums that like I was like old enough or getting old enough to like wrap my head around. And it was why it made it so easy for me to come back to this show versus something like Buffy, which is like, it's just like, the core of it is like growing up is hard and there's like a bunch of unexpected challenges coming at you, which like fair, that's very true. And that's very fascinating. And they did a good job of like bringing examples of that. But like for me, I don't know what it was, but like something about just like, can a fundamentally, inarguably, objectively bad person do enough good to change that, to tip the scales back to being a good person? Like that's to this day so much more fascinating to me, and that's what I loved about the character in the show.
Yeah, just such a more distinct like theme to take on than sort of what Buffy was doing in comparison to the two of them. Like whereas Buffy, like the aim is in a sense it's a little Buffy's kind of YA, I would say, young adult and high school, college age stuff, but like Angel kind of geared it to be a little bit more mature. I think they tried to tackle some deeper themes. And I definitely appreciate it for that.
Yeah, same. So, I mean, with all that being said, should we just dive into the episode?
We should. It's all of that stuff that you were saying is kind of where we pick up and where we pick up Angel here, where it's the first scene we see him, he's like brooding in the dark, but
he does that a lot.
He does it quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and there's even a joke in the episode at the end about it.
you could just sit in the dark.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, guys, like as a thank you for you guys, like we can have like a fun night out. And then Cordelia and Doyle are just like, what if we just leave and let you sit in the dark? And he's just like, oh, thank God. That sounds so much better.
we know that's what you want.
I think a lot of us, especially like post-pandemic, like are like, yes, that sounds so great. Like if somebody was like, we could go out to like a club or something, or we could just leave and let you stay at home. I personally would be I'd be like, you get me if somebody said that.
Yep. I'm okay with staying home.
Yeah.
So I feel like your initial description from Google didn't quite capture the essence of like, it said like a serial killer, didn't it? But what we learn pretty quickly is that it's of course it's a demon because it's an angel show.
Yeah.
But it's a burrow demon that we'll get into more when we talk about the monster of it. But essentially, what happens is this demon like possesses somebody. Picks up somebody at a bar or like a club or something, and then through having sex, essentially transfers itself into the other person, the other host. And so like it just switches from body. It's like a parasite, body to body, looking for presumably someone that it would fit with the most. So we're seeing Angel and his crew trying to hunt down this demon, not quite knowing who it is. And it's a cool story. I think it does feel, I think I texted you that if it feels dated, but I don't necessarily say that in the way that it feels like like bad dated. It just feels very 90s in the look and feel of everything. Like the segues and the transitions between scenes feel very 90s.
Oh, totally. And it is
there's
90s. It's 1999.
it is super. It is 1999.
Yeah.
So it's fair, but it's just fun. It's like nostalgic to watch that. There's even like a really intense like scene, like intense music playing where Angel just like flips through the phone book intensely.
That was so
I really
crazy.
enjoyed that.
First of all, let's just talk about like, so the whole thing is that he's like a pseudo detective, right? But I feel like we should explain what the premise, especially for like these first 2 seasons was that like he was a supernatural detective, but it wasn't. Sometimes it was like in the noir film where like somebody like knocks on his door and he's like, "Are you Angel? I got a case." And he's like, "Let's get on it." But more often than not, what would happen was in the first couple seasons, it's his assistant Doyle is the guy who would get visions from basically just something called the powers that be. We don't find out what they are for a long time. And it's just like the presumably good guys send like painful visions of a crime or a victim or sometimes the perpetrator itself directly to Doyle, and Doyle has to like just based on like random images like point Angel in the right direction of like somebody needs help, do this. And so for this episode, it's just he gets like images of a club and not even like I don't even know like how they figured out what the right club was. I guess like we just skipped the part of them going to like 10 different clubs and finding the right one. But they just have to go to a club. And even then they don't necessarily know what they're looking for until they get there. And it just seems like such an ineffective way to detect things. You know what I mean?
I know. I think even Angel says at one point, he's like, "Let's split up and look for someone in trouble."
Yeah, like, and I do appreciate that. Like, especially as the second episode, I think that it was very important to like underscore like they are not good at this. Like Angel at this point, he's not a good detective so much as he's just like, I'll go looking for a fight. Like, I'm not scared to look for a fight. I just need to know where. And everybody else is like, Cordelia is not like a detective either. She was like a prom queen cheerleader type who's now trying to like transition into what her adult self is going to be. And then Doyle is like this just like alcoholic, like surly demon dude. So yeah, I think it was a really good second outing of showing them kind of still in their rookie stage, trying to figure out how this is all going to work. But yeah, he just goes to a club and just like looks around and like randomly talks to people like, "Are you in trouble?" Like literally at one point it's just like, are you in danger? Do you need help? Which is the creepiest thing to just like walk up to a girl at a club and say. Yeah, it was so funny.
Yeah, and Cordelia is just walking around handing out business cards.
Oh my god, yeah. And then the running joke of the episode is that she drew what was supposed to be like an angel, but nobody can tell what it is on the business card. So like, I think one person's like, "Thanks. Is that a crab?" Which is, that was a good runner. That was a good like low key.
It's a good gag.
This isn't as quippy as Buffy. It's a more broody show, so the jokes have to kind of match that level. And I think that was a good like middle ground.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that a lot. I love this is a holdover from Buffy, but those searching the library for what kind of demon it is scene.
Dude,
I was like, let's go down the library and search for what kind of demon does this. And they're just like pouring through ancient texts of demons. I don't know what it is about those scenes, but I fucking love those scenes.
I wish I loved them, but like that's the one part of this.
I love them.
I just know I couldn't be on these teams because that sounds such a slog, dude. Like I don't even with this one. It's like, okay, we're looking for a demon that eviscerates people, which for me, I would just be like, isn't that all of them? Like, isn't that most demons? Like, what am I? You just want me to crack open every book and just like, and I get it, like that's what the hard part of it. That's why not anybody does it, but like that is especially why I wouldn't do it.
So you're saying you don't like it, like for you personally, you would not enjoy doing that.
Like I have like such an idea of myself as like a nerdy dude right up until you actually make me do nerd stuff. And I'm just like, nah, I'm a bro through and through. Call me when it's like blowtorching a monster time. Cause I'm realizing in my heart of hearts, that's what I'm in it for.
I mean, I'm the guy who came to you originally and said, let's do a monster podcast. Like, if someone was like, hey, go down to the library and look through books of different kinds of weird monsters to figure out what fits this, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. You're the hit the books type, and it's an important part of it. Like if it was just my way of doing things, it would just be a lot of violence with like some results versus like your way, which is what the show does. Is like they don't just go and crack skulls. Like they sit there and do the research. They take the time, and it's fun to watch. But it's also, especially pre-internet, it's so daunting when you have like next to nothing to go off of, and you just have to. You look up a monster that eviscerates. Like, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what you want from me.
I mean, do you think those texts would be on the internet now, though?
Again, what would you Google? Like,
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, how would you?
It's
what
just
book
as
would you, or
frustrating.
what site would you look for?
I don't know, man. Like again, like the whole like looking at
demon
like,
database,
looking at through even just looking through the phone book was like a bridge too far for me.
That was painful.
It was so funny. It was just like he just randomly gets the girl's last name, and then like I guess I would just Facebook search them today or something, or like just check their socials and probably find them.
Oh yeah,
that's the equivalent, but it's still just like. Just wake me up when we're fighting somebody. Like that would be my thing. If I was the vampire in charge, I'd just be like, you guys crack the books, figure out what the vision means, and then just wake me up when somebody needs to get hit.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Yeah. I'm just, if anything, this is just an argument for why I shouldn't be the leader of a vampire detective agency.
Hey, it's why we make a good team.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The one other thing, unless you had more stuff, one other thing I wanted to touch on before we get into the monster of it all is the Kate character.
Yeah, I forgot that because like
I did too. I completely forgot about her.
She's a main character in the first season
for a while. Yeah,
yeah, like
a recurring character, right?
Yeah. So basically, we meet Kate, and she's just a girl that Angel is talking to, and it seems semi-flirtatious, and if anything, like they're just having a good conversation and you don't think much about it. And then when Angel finally starts like narrowing in on the demon that they're looking for, he gets to the house where the girl is that he's following, the one he phone book searched, and he goes in there and sees that she's dead, and he gets into like this super awesome fight. Actually, like the choreography and stuff like that really holds up. It was awesome. He gets like
I heard that the stunt double said that was one of his favorite scenes to film. This fight scene
is one of my favorite scenes to watch. So that stunt double knows what he's talking about. But
it's also always a good time when the vampire face comes out.
Yes, the Angel fights have always been awesome in my opinion. Yeah. Like it's just the kind of like fight choreography that for me will forever be cool to watch. But yeah, so he gets into a cool fight with him, and then the demon runs out just as Kate comes in, and you find out, twist, she's a cop. And that's when like you kind of like start to see what the season's gonna look like, as far as she doesn't know what's going on. She's just like assumes it's a serial killer that's been killing all these people that go to the same nightclub, and Angel is the guy walking around at the club going like, are you in danger? And just being like a full on creep, and like, yeah, you're a suspect, dude. I don't know what you expected to come of this. And what's really interesting to me is that outside of her character, there's not much, if any, law enforcement in the Buffyverse in general, let alone Angel the series. They don't really do anything with cops, which in retrospect is crazy, considering how many like just like violent like outbreaks occur. It's almost never like no one ever stops and goes like, I wonder what the cops think of all of this. And so like, that's why I was shocked and forgot that she's like a big part of the whole first season, is like, he kind of has like an in with the LAPD for like a full season. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it was a good twist.
Yeah. So yeah, the Kate character, this is her introduction to the series. And I don't think it ends well for her. I can't remember exactly, but I know that we don't see her for very long.
I think she's in the first season a little bit. I don't know how much further she went though.
Yeah, I mean, understandably, like they had to kind of pull away from that route just based on where they were going. It still stays noirish for the rest of the series, but like they get way more into demon lore and like magical stuff that you don't really care at that point. You just don't care what the cops think.
for sure. Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. And the team changes considerably throughout the series too. Like the Doyle character isn't even there for that long.
You know why,
A couple
right?
seasons maybe. What happened? Yeah,
The
I don't know.
actor died.
With the actual actor died?
Yeah, his name is Glenn Quinn, and it sucks. In 2002, he actually died of an overdose in North Hollywood. So yeah, it's actually, they do like kind of a touching tribute to him in the final season where Cordelia and Angel are watching like an old ad that he did for Angel Investigations, and it was like a real, like every time I see it, I just like, I remember, oh yeah, like that's why he's not here. He's actually gone. It wasn't just that because like in the show, it was very abrupt and like, I think they did kill him off in the show, but like it was in that way that like it didn't necessarily mean he was like gone forever.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I might be misremembering it now, but in any case, the actual actor did pass on in like 2002. So R.I.P. Glenn Quinn. I thought he was especially in that first season, I thought he was a great person to just kind of like help set the tone for what the show would be.
Yeah. We'll dedicate this episode to Glenn Quinn.
Yes. Which he, just reading right now, Googling, he died at my age. So that's very crazy to think about. This dude, he looked way younger than 32.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he looked pretty young.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's kind of very I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It's a very all over the place synopsis of the episode, but the general thing of it was like there's a demon that is attacking people at a club. We'll get into how he's attacking people, but Angel eventually tracks him down, finds a cop along the way, and they kind of team up by the end.
Should we monster it up?
Let's monster it up, dude.
All right. So the demon in question goes by the name of Telamour, and it is a burrower demon. Burrower is hard for me to say. Burrower.
You know, you should call it instead what I've been calling it.
What?
An STDemon.
An STDemon. That's better. That's good. Yeah,
it's technically our second STDemon, if you'll recall. Yeah, I knew you'd think of that too. But this follows in the grand tradition of It Follows.
It absolutely does.
In that it's a sexually transmitted supernatural creature. And it's pretty cool.
And in this case, though, whereas It Follows, it was like you couldn't see it. It had no formless entity. In this case, well, I guess you could see it. It was like takes on the form of different people. But like in this case, it's an actual distinct creature. It's like a grayish snake-like creature with a big mouth and teeth, which allowed him ultimately to break through the chest of the current host, through the back of a new host, and then into the new host's body to take over, leaving the old host to just kind of waste away and die. Which I think they might be dead right away, right?
They definitely have to be dead right away, because I think the implication is like, even though it's like bursting through like your back as it enters you, it has like rapid healing as one of its abilities. So as soon as it bursts out of you, you lose that super healing ability, and like that kills you. Just the simple transfer.
That makes sense. Buffy Wiki, it says it had the ability to take control of the motor functions of its dead human hosts. However, possession was only temporary, and after a time, the host body would begin to fall apart, beginning with the skin. I don't remember seeing that. Telamour also had the ability to sense humans from non-humans, including vampires. Its presence granted the host body superhuman strength and reflexes, as well as limited healing ability, which cured the wound caused by the demon's forced entrance. However, the ability didn't work with fire.
Yeah, and what was cool is, and it was probably a throwaway line more than anything, because like obviously this creature never comes back, but like when they're doing the research and they figure out what it is, they talk about how it's like one of the first demons, which was like crazy that this monster has just been doing this for like
ever, thousands
of years. That's so long. Like when you think about like especially how far back demon lore goes in this show, that is a big deal. Like most demons do not just like, they're not one of the first like this. And I like it in the sense that it's almost just like this like primordial parasite that even though it might have like gotten more sophisticated as it was going or whatever, it's still more or less still just like I don't know, in the same way that like if we try to drink like water from the prehistoric times and like the microbes in that would probably just screw us up, you know? I think about it in that way, and like it's cool in that regard.
Like it's instinctual. It's just kind of doing what it needs to do.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously there's like, it's the monster. I think this is one of the few monsters out there that understands it's a metaphor. Just the way it talks, where it's just like, it's just like, it's not so much that it loves jumping bodies. It's looking for quote unquote the one body that that's meant for him or it. And it literally says this in its like pre-fight conversation with Angel, and it's just like, yeah, like all these bodies like deteriorate and like they're just not for me, and I'm just looking for that. And I'm just like, you spent thousands of years looking for like one body that wouldn't like crumble on you. Maybe they're just not out there, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's not for everybody. That's okay. Do you like love yourself in all your glory? But yeah, I think that was interesting too, the way that they were trying to make this monster. It felt way more like it was trying to be a metaphor than anything else.
For sure. And relatively successful in terms of the metaphor. One thing I would have been kind of curious to see more of if they were to maybe have made this today, I bet they would have played around with like the gender element of it all. Cause like the demon possesses like men and women at different times, and we don't really see like any other like elements on the spectrum there, and we only see pretty much same-sex coupling. So it would have been interesting to see just like that experience of being like different sexes, or like what that means. I think there's only like a one-off joke that Angel has about it being a man at one point.
I mean, that's the thing, is like they really had like an opportunity to make this almost like an AIDS allegory. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if it was just like exclusively like, if it was the kind of demon that understood that something like the AIDS epidemic was not being addressed by the larger society, so like it knew that it could like rack up a huge body count and like cops and doctors, and nobody would think too much about it. And that's why like somebody like Angel had to come in and that's why the powers that be like made this a vision to begin with, where I think that would have been like obviously pretty ahead of its time for a show like even like this to tackle. But like there is a world where like it's so much more fascinating if it's like not necessarily a homophobic demon, but a demon that understands like that the conventional human like morality or whatever of the time made it so limiting that like they couldn't even recognize a threat to the community because it was attacking a marginalized community.
Yeah. There's a lot of layers you could have gone into there. And for what it did, it did well. But I just have to imagine that if it was made again, it would probably dig deeper into some of those things.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And I mean, it's still good, you know. Like, I mean, there were other STDs and stuff like that in the 90s to address, and I think that the show itself does a really good job of just exploring this idea of just how predators could thrive in a large city where it's just like a very like natural hookup culture, not in the sex shamey kind of way, but just in the sense that like if you're a predator, like anonymous hookups are going to be very easy to take advantage of.
Yeah, and kind of just to fade in the darkness and stay under the radar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got a little bit, it took a little digging. It's harder in some of these episodes of older shows to find like behind the scenes details, especially specifically regards to the special effects of the monster. And because we really don't see much, like we see only like a little bit of like real VFX and creature work here. But the amount that we see, I found to be pretty cool and effective. It reminds me a lot. And I think you mentioned this too, before we watched the episode, that it's like the chest burster from Alien, which is an interesting comparison in many ways, because the Alien movies are very like have very sexual themes too, like reproductive. The alien reproduces through humans and stuff, or through a host body too. But like in the case of Alien, the chest burster is the alien being born. And in this case, this demon like bursts through the chest, but into the back of somebody else to like keep going, and it's sexually charged but in a different manner. So it's really fascinating to compare those two in a sense too. But anyway, the one of the special effects supervisor for the show is a guy named Lonnie Peristeer, if I'm saying that correctly. And I did find an interview with him where he talks about some of the effects that they had submitted for awards for both Buffy and Angel. And he says, quote, I think some of the most graphic effects in this season 1, were in Lonely Hearts, the burrow demon that went through the chest. He says, quote, it's a very successful effect and it's a very simple, believe it or not. And then he mentions another effects supervisor, Dave Miller, who builds a prosthetic back off the actor, which matched identically to the actor. And then they shot the actor doing the action with tracking points, little marks on the back. And then Lonnie just soft-edged, matted, and tracked in a locked-off version of the actor's back with the burrowing demon and stuck it on there sort of with post-effects. And then he says, and you'd never know that, and I was really proud of that, and you just don't see it. It's a wonderful piece of work, and we did such a nice job on the prosthetic. So I thought it's kind of interesting that like much of the prosthetic was actually just the back itself.
Yeah, I liked it. And I mean, it's definitely like, it might not be the most like ripe conversation for a creature feature podcast that like we're talking about a creature that you don't see very much of, but I did like the way that like the few snippets we saw of it. It had a Jaws type of feel to it where it was like there's only so much of it you could see without losing the effect of like your mind believing it's a monster that's real in this world. And I don't know, I liked it. It was they messed with the frame rate. That was another cool trick that they did where it's very like whenever you do see the monster bursting from one person. Oh, and that was the other funny thing is that this monster it's death by spooning.
Yeah, wants to cuddle.
That's how it's so funny to me because like it only ever does it that way, which like for me, I feel like there's probably other ways it could have done it. It could have hugged you. It could have done anything, but like it specifically wants to cradle you before transferring itself over. And you'd only just get to see these like real small snippets of like the monster just like bursting out and coming out. And it's like so choppy and moving around like almost like at a glitchy pace that like it feels like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like it's almost like a feverish dream of like emotion, and it really adds to the terror of it in a economic way. And then yeah, just speaking to the spooning thing, it's really funny when at the very end it's the bartender who ends up being like the last person possessed, and then he gets into like a really gruesome fight with Angel where it like the bartender's like forehead just gets like bashed really bad and
skin is torn off.
Yeah, so he's like sweaty and gross, and he's like trying to jump to another body, but like nobody wants to like have sex with him.
He's trying to flirt with people, like
yeah, he's
like
just like casually,
with people.
he's just like casually limping and sweaty and wounded, and he's just like, "Hey, what's up? You know, you want to
got
like,
skin hanging off?
You want to get out of here?" and he like goes up to one girl, he's like, "Hey, can I just like hold you for a second?" Which it was just a very funny, like, oh yeah, like you as a demon are very limited very quickly. That's great for like not gonna play into the rest of the show, let alone the rest of the season. Like you're just one and done. This is a funny way to show how weak you are. But yeah, no, that whole last part where like he's just hitting on everybody was so funny to me.
It was very good. Speaking of hitting on people, Khalid.
Sure.
Occasionally bears have been known to hit on people.
No, they haven't. Not even occasionally.
And this is a segue to the 4 Bears test.
Oh my god. Not your best work, Joe.
It's up there. It's up there.
Is it? I don't know if that's a compliment. Anyways, yeah, 4 bears test. What happens when you switch out the monster we're talking about with 4 bears? Does the story stay the same? Is the narrative changed? And yeah, I don't know, man. Like you as a bear, you can't wear a human and like have sex with other people and then wear them afterwards. That's just the mechanics of it. Just there's no generous reading of it where you switch out this monster with 1 bear, let alone 4, and get the same results. It just doesn't work. I think Angel would have a hard time fighting 4 bears the way he had a hard time fighting this demon, but as a detective, it'd be so much easier for him if like there were just like bears dressing up like humans and going to nightclubs and he had to find out where that was happening. I think it would be a much shorter episode because they would just be like, yeah, it's those 4 bears right there at this club.
Just picturing bears in trench coats.
Exactly. Like that's what we're talking about here. Just any like, and this is just a blanket, like anytime it comes down to like the demon survival only works if you think it's a human, the 4 bears test is like just like an automatic fail. So I don't want to belabor the point. This is a big F for me. I assume it is for you too.
Agreed. And speaking of belaboring points, Khalid, would you fight or would you flirt with the Telamour, the burrowing demon?
That kind of worked, actually.
Kind of worked.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. This one, yeah, I mean, it's an STDemon. You know what I mean? The whole thing is that, like, if anything, it wants you to flirt. That's its way of fighting you. So it's you gotta fight it the way Angel fought it. I know I'm a dead man either way, because if a 200-year-old vampire can't beat it like very easily, I don't think I have much of a chance as a human that doesn't regularly hunt and fight demons. But I also know that flirting with it is exactly what it wants, to take over your body and like dry you out and kill you. It also, on a more, I touched on it briefly, but like on a more just like interpersonal level, this is a monster that cannot be pleased. You know, it outright says like it's never satisfied with like anybody. So I don't go into relationships when I know there's that much baggage. You know, if it comes up naturally and it's like a cool person that otherwise outside of like their hangups is well-meaning and trying to do something with their lives that like makes bringing a partner into it worthwhile, like I'll do that. I'll work through that person's baggage with them, but this monster doesn't seem interested in dealing with its baggage. It just wants to like jump from partner to partner and like suck them dry of whatever makes them special, and then do it again with somebody else. And I'm just not. I don't want to be like one of many. You know, I have too much self-esteem for that. So I would fight this monster for that, among a few reasons.
And there you have it.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, you know, I like myself too much.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah, thank you. These are really quick segments this week.
They were good though. They were worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Made mostly great by my segues.
Definitely by your segues. Yeah, you're saving the show with your segues.
They certainly add something.
What that thing is, who's to say?
Should we move on to the final segment of the show?
Let's do it.
For those of you who are new, the final segment of Frankenstein's podcast is a segment in which we share something that we're interested in that may or may not have anything to do with what we're talking about, may or may not have anything to do with monsters, but something we are into that we think you guys might be interested in. It's a segment we like to call What the Fandom?
Gotta.
Khalid, what the fandom with you?
Okay, so my What the Fandom is going to be a 2-parter, one more than the other, but still both very good recommendations. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is a movie that is unfortunately still kind of in a limited release. So I'm hoping that the word of mouth will help it kind of get like eventually a wider release and it'll come to your city if it isn't there already. But my first recommendation is the new movie by the Daniels, a directing pair, comprising of Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you may have seen the trailers for this movie. If you haven't, even better. Like the less you know going into this movie, the better. This movie is amazing. It is a feat on a writing level, on a directing level, on a just a technical level regarding camera and VFX. It's the kind of movie that like comes along every so often that just blows your mind in a way that makes you just like fall in love again with the medium of film. I would say like one of the last times I really felt like this was like The Matrix, and not coincidentally, this movie owes a lot to films like The Matrix, but on top of that, it owes to really obscure movies, even like The Mask, and then Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love is like heavily referenced. So
Cool.
yeah, it's just an amazing movie. Michelle Yeoh is if you've seen her before, you already know what a wonder she is to watching things, and this feels really good to in this day and age. This is definitely the kind of movie that even a few years ago the lead would have just been like a white person, and more specifically a white man. And so to see not even a young person, but an older Asian woman like carry such an exciting action adventure movie like this, that also just has like a really poignant and heartfelt core to it. I could go on literally, and I promise you, if you dared me, I would just go on for an hour about why this movie is amazing, because that's just how good it was. I walked away from it just like, it's been 2 weeks, and I still like, my brain starts spinning when I think about some of the set pieces in it, and how it's insane that this movie is like filling me with this much like shock and awe, when it's like it really is just an experience. And I couldn't oversell it, but I don't want to try and like talk such a big game that you guys like go into it trying to undersell it. All I'll say is go see it. Do yourself a favor whenever it comes to your town, which I'm hoping that enough people get the buzz going and spread the word that it does make it to your town, because this is a movie that you want to see in theaters, and you want to see it a bunch of times with friends, because it is so great in a packed theater. I saw it in a packed theater, and everybody was just like laughing at the right times, like just like cheering at the right times. It was an event for everybody, and it was great. So Everything Everywhere All at Once, go check it out. My other recommendation is just a smaller one. I just started this show today on HBO Max. This one, I just wanted to give you guys a recommendation that's like a little bit more, everybody can see it, and it's good. It's called Chad, and it's by Nasim Pedrad. She's been on New Girl. I think she was in SNL for a few seasons. She basically plays a 13-year-old boy named Chad, and it's as funny as it sounds. It's just a very sharply written comedy. The few episodes I've seen so far, there hasn't been a weak one in the bunch. It's a very strong cast supporting her, and she just does such a great job of like, the only way I could describe it is like, what if you got to watch a show about Michael Scott in middle school? It's basically that, but like, it's still more than that. It's still its own thing. It's just that to me feels like a good like instant elevator pitch, and it's just like the worst kid ever, and you watch him and his misadventures, and it's so fun. So yeah, check out Chad on HBO Max. It is hilarious. And those are my What the Fandoms. Joe, what the fandom with you?
Awesome. Thanks, Khalid. Both of those sound great. I'm super pumped for the movie, and I'll have to check out Chad.
Yes, please do.
My What the Fandom is an anime on Netflix called Treze, which is a Filipino anime show, which is one of the first ones they produced that's kind of gone international, and it's based on a comic of the same name, but it kind of fuses like Philippine like horror mythology with like kind of like a detective, kind of a dark detective story. So she's kind of the center of the story. This girl, Alexandra Trece, who investigates like mysterious supernatural events in Manila, is the city she's in the Philippines, and it's cool because the culture is just so like rich in these like kind of like mythologies that kind of come alive in the series. And so like it's set in this reality in which like the supernatural is not like under the radar. It's just part of the norm. So whenever like the cops find something supernatural, they're like, oh, call Treze, she can deal with this. Like it's just part of like the culture of the city. And it's really interesting. So the main character is she's kind of tasked, her family's tasked with like keeping this like delicate peace between all these different supernatural factions of ancient beings and ancient races or creatures or demons of some sort. But ultimately the show is building to something unraveling that piece. And I won't say so much more. It's a really short, breezy watch. I started it a long time ago and for some reason stopped, and recently finally got back onto it. It's like 6 episodes, so it's like you could watch it in one day. But I really enjoyed it. It's got a few recognizable voices in there, but mostly I think relative newcomers to the scene in terms of the English cast. But it's really cool. It's really graphic. It's very gory, but there are a lot of cool, gnarly monsters and just interesting like mythology that's built throughout it. Our buddy Joel from West Coast Strange, Joel H. Brewster, did an episode on Treze, and I think that his description is really apt. And he kind of describes her as like a Filipino like Batman, but kind of cooler. And I don't know. I'm not like a well versed in anime per se, so I don't know like the technical specs of the animation, but I think it's a really pretty show, really beautiful. There's a lot of cool like imagery, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's great. I think that I'd like to support it. I haven't heard a lot of buzz surrounding it necessarily, so I'd like to see. It'd be cool if more people watched it and we can get a season 2. I don't know anything if there's going to be more, but anyway, check it out. Treze. It's on Netflix, so highly recommended.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. That's not you had me at Filipino Batman.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah. So yeah, those are our awesome recommendations for this episode, guys. So check it out. And yeah, for our next episode, we promise that we will, barring any more scheduling conflicts, be discussing The Girl in the Woods on Peacock. If you haven't checked it out yet and you want to follow along, go ahead and check it out. I think in terms of dates, Khalid, that we're going to be doing that one next, but that one might be the one after next, just so you know. So we will at some point be doing The Girl in the Woods. Just putting that will be happening. Putting that on your radar. I might as well put on your radar that we will also at some point be doing. We'll be doing a Green Monster double feature for an episode. It's going to be The Mask and Flubber. So we'll let you know when that episode is going to be. Yes, Khalid has just recently proposed that with the help of frequent friend of the podcast, Nicole, and wife of the podcast. Yeah, wife of the podcast. Wife of the podcast. We got our friends of the podcast and we got a wife of the podcast. Yeah, frequent guest and wife of the podcast. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Nicole, for the assist on that one. Yeah, so I guess check out Girl in the Woods and we'll announce on the socials if it's going to be something else for the next episode. But until then, guys, thank you for listening, and as always, creep it easy.